Hey guys, welcome to part 5 of our series, Perspectives. Today we're going to kind of try to tackle the question of why do bad things happen in a world where we believe that God, a good God, exists. And that is a lot. The answer to that, A, is not something that I think anybody on this earth could answer. Only God can fully answer that. Also, it's a very broad answer because there's a lot of different ways to approach it. You could talk about just, the history of, how where Satan came from and why there is something evil out there. And we could talk about the logic of if there's good, then there has to be bad, or how do we define what good is? We could talk about the fact that it's, our fault, or is it God's fault, or, whose fault is it? We could talk about a lot of different things, but instead of talking about things that are more related to the origination of evil or bad things. Instead, I'd like to talk about how those things might be used in our life, which we've kind of talked about before, but I want to just dig into it a little bit more on this video. So it's interesting because today, and this has actually happened way too often in my life, especially in the last few years as I've been involved in the health industry. But today I had two different phone conversations. Neither one of these, of course, planned or knew it was coming. One was with somebody I was meeting with today, and before I could meet with her, she said she was going to get a scan, and I went ahead and said, I hope it's not too personal, but she had mentioned this a few times, so I said, hey, what's the scan about? Is it kind of a regular checkup, or is it something I can pray about? And she said, actually, in the last year or two, she had breast cancer. And this is her second scan since being cancer-free, praise God, and that she never actually told her three kids. She's got three younger kids, kind of age 9 to 13, and so she was dealing with that, and that just, broke my heart, and it also broke my heart because I just know her life, and I know her personality, and I know her drive, and, she's working so hard every day, 6 days a week at an auto dealer, a car dealership, and So anyway, it's just tough knowing that she bears about 100% of the work and responsibility to take care of her kids, as well as work 6 days a week. Plus, she's gone through that and hasn't been able to tell her kids or wanted to. And then I got a call from someone who told me that a mutual friend who had brain cancer at my age, in his late 30s, early 40s, had brain cancer a couple years ago. Just found out that it's come back kind of more than ever. And so these things just, crush me. They break my heart. And of course, some of you know that I don't deal with that, praise God. But, I know that's much more difficult than what I deal with. And we're very grateful for that. But we deal with two of our daughters having an undiagnosed genetic condition. These challenges, they come at us, and I just want to give you this one thought on this day, on this week of perspectives and this series of perspectives. And that one thought is this: the more and more that I think about the DNA of our souls, the DNA of our supernatural beings, of our spirit man, our spirit woman, that spirit part of us and that DNA that's there, and I believe it does have DNA, and I believe it does have a genetic kind of sequence, or DNA sequence, or however that works. I believe that as these challenges come, what they do is they break apart that DNA. I know that's not how it works in the human body, but they break apart that DNA. They break apart those genes, and literally they separate us, and they take, let's say, one DNA thing, and it separates it into the one became two, okay? And the two are each equal to the original one. So we haven't lessened anything. And then the 2 become 4, and the 4 become 8 as more challenges come our way. It breaks us. It literally breaks our spirit. But here's the deal. What is it breaking? Is it breaking a spirit that is positive no matter what? The grass is greener on my side. The cup is always half full, right? Is it breaking a spirit that is hopeful in God? Is it breaking a spirit that knows that that life is all about God, and this is a temporary life, and heaven is forever and eternal? What is it break? Or is it breaking a spirit and the DNA of a spirit that can easily be discouraged and is fearful and does not know what happens in eternity, and is not sure of life, and is always thinking the grass is greener on the other side and the cup is half empty. What spirit man, what supernatural being, what soul is being broken through those times of challenge? And if it's a soul and a spirit that is the former that I mentioned, positive and hopeful and full of joy no matter what, if that's what it's breaking, then that's what it's spreading. If that's what it's breaking, then that's what it's spreading. And so if we will establish ourselves in the good, if we will establish ourselves in hope, if we will establish ourselves, I believe, in God and eternity and the things to come, not the things that are now. If we will look up, I think that's Colossians chapter 2, verse 1 and 2. If we will look up, not out and around us, then when the challenges break us, then what he is doing and allowing, at least, not maybe he's not causing it, but what he's allowing is the goodness of who we are and the joy and hope that we hold inside of us to be spread out to more and more and more people. And I believe for all of eternity, I believe that kind of spiritual seed gets sown out into the spiritual atmosphere. And it's not just for while we're alive, and it's not just in that moment of challenge, but it's forever. And if that is actually what's happening, then two things are so important for me. One, I must establish myself in that hope and in God and in joy. No matter what comes, I've got to build that foundation so strong. And two, if that's true, then number two, I'm not asking for more challenge. I would never do that. I'm not asking for more pain or suffering or breaking. But what I will do, as Paul did in the Bible, I will rejoice in our suffering. I will rejoice in the pain, because I will rejoice that I'm being broken to spread out to more and more and more people. The 1 becomes 2, becomes 4, becomes 8, becomes 16, becomes 32, and can be spread out and sown as seeds into the lives of others who don't yet know the hope and don't know the joy that I hold. And if that can happen because of my breaking, then I will say, if it does come, okay, God, I rejoice in this process, and I thank you for it. And I thank you that you give me hope that is so good that my joy in this challenge is actually greater than the joy I would have in an easy and carefree life without you.